Hey, we're here to cover the exciting moves the Packers have been making. Lots of moves to talk about. It's been free agent frenzy, as some will call it. So this actually started back on March 4th, some of the things, and we'll go all through everything that's impacted the Green Bay Packers so far. Again, official signings can't start until tomorrow, but basically, once this stuff gets out there, it's all going to happen unless some crazy thing happens and blows it all up, but I doubt it. All right, so bro, we got some big moves by the Gootster and team. Some of them maybe you like, some of them maybe you don't like. But let's examine here what's happened so far for the Green Bay Packers. I don't even care how you're doing tonight. I'm not even going to ask you. I just want to know about the Packers and your thoughts. First signing I know you like. They re-signed Chris Brooks. That's the first move of the Packers to a 2-year deal worth 4.85 million. Cheapy, cheap. Get a decent running back on the team.
Yeah, and he's actually good.
Yeah,
So
he's pretty good. Knows what he's doing. Knows the offense.
he's
Pretty good
a
at everything.
he's solid and is exactly what we need for a. And he's a special teams guy, which is what we need. Because our special teams guys, our special teams is crap. Which I guess he's on the special teams, so maybe that's bad. I don't know, but it's better than getting some guy who sucks at special teams. At least he actually is good at special teams and plays special teams as well as can come off the bench and do other things. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean
he's better.
he
He's just as fast as Josh Jacobs, way better pass blocker, and plays special teams. Yet he makes 1/12 the amount that Josh Jacobs makes. So does it make any sense? No, makes no sense. Makes no sense.
it's the way it goes. If you're not drafted, if you're not thought of highly coming out of college, or you're under the radar, they kind of can scoop you up and screw you left and right. But at least he finally got, instead of just a 1-year contract like he's been getting, he at least got a 2-year contract with a couple $1,000,000. So he won't
Yeah.
be a poor man. So that's all right. Um, so we like that move. Then the big splash that everybody's kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? The Packers trade for Zaire Franklin
Well, I
and
think
get
you
rid
had
of
in your fantasy
Colby.
football team last year, two
Yeah,
years ago.
get rid of Colby Wooden and get this Franklin dude who was a captain on the Colts defense. So we lose one of our captains here shortly after that, but we got a new captain to replace him.
Well,
They're saying he's kind of similar to Quay Walker, but
he had a really bad year,
yeah.
but prior to that, he was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, as a 30-year-old guy, or he's going to be 30, making $7 million a year, which is a little bit more than Isaiah McDuffie's making, because Isaiah McDuffie's making $4 million a year, I think.
Yep.
So you can't be too upset about that. It's way better than the deal Quay Walker got. We can't afford that. So if you're getting a similar player for half the price, then that sounds good to me.
I mean, he had four. So he was 2024 Pro Bowler, 4 straight 100 tackle seasons. You know, leading up to that. So leading up to last year. So I mean, he's played well. He's been consistent. He's been available. Um, and he's a lot cheaper. The one thing people will say is that he struggles in coverage a little bit, similar to Quay Walker. Well, big deal. It didn't matter. Quay Walker wasn't good
Yeah.
at coverage either, so it's the
Right.
same. But he's way cheaper, and I do think he attacks plays better. Like he doesn't get caught up in the wash from everything I've seen. As much as Quay Walker, he'll diagnose and attack quicker on the runs. So now, will Jonathan Gannon's defense allow him to do that, or is he sitting back? I don't know. We'll find out with how they coach linebackers and what they want him to do. But at least at this point, you lose Colby Wooden, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, we need D tackles," and we do. But we're switching defensive schemes probably, and it also signals to me the Packers are probably going to try to get some bigger defensive tackles and defensive ends in here to run this new system. I think. You don't think so? What are we doing then? We're not going to get some of the big dudes in the draft?
Okay.
You tell me. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong.
If you play a 3-4 defense, right,
Yep.
they have to realize what they're doing and what the advantage of doing that is, specifically for two players on the team. Micah Parsons, and Edgerrin Cooper. It allows them to be free to play a roaming type role, to not be immediately blocked right away, right? If you can take Parsons and move him to outside linebacker slash whatever, off ball guy, it gives him more ability to move around and do all crazy stuff. So, yes, what they should do is get 3 big fat guys, stick them in the middle, and then have a bunch of crazy guys running around behind them. But it's also Goody. So, are we going to do that? Probably not. He just traded away Wooden. Last year he traded away Kenny Clark. He let TJ Slayton go in free agency. And the only move they made was signing Najir Stackhouse as an undrafted free agent. Well, I think they had another guy, but I can't remember his name. But he wasn't good.
He might have been Slackhouse.
No, there was another guy I think they had.
Slackhouse and Stackhouse? Oh. All right.
Even though there's a bunch of good players to draft. So, it'd be great if that happens. But, see, because in my mind, I would be thinking, okay, we need to have, instead of losing guys who could play like a defensive tackle in a 4-3, right? Or that would then turn into defensive ends in a 3-4 with a big fat nose tackle, right? Because that's what you like. Reggie White. I know this is a different time. They're a little bit smaller than that now, but back then you're talking 292 pounds at defensive end. And then even in the 2010 season, we had Ryan Pickett and Colin Jenkins, who were 290 plus pound guys playing defensive end with a big tough fat guy like BJ Raji in the middle and Howard Greencon off the bench, right? But so in that case, would it be smart to trade away Wooden when he would fit that defensive end mold? Because that's what he was 288 when we drafted him, and he had to eat a bunch of food to get up to 300 this last year. So it'd probably be great if he could go back to 290 and play defensive end along with Carl Brooks. And what is Devontae Wyatt? Is he a nose tackle? No, he's a defensive end too.
Yeah, right.
So, and then what is LVN? Is LVN able to play off-ball linebacker or outside linebacker?
No.
He's got to be defensive end.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what they're going to do. What I do know is they're going to have to get some beef, like big beef, and then hope that LVN can somehow play defensive end. And then I think they need to get another like off-ball pass rushing linebacker. They need another 6'2", 6'3", 245-pound guy. Or move Edgerrin Cooper to outside linebacker and have McDuffie and Franklin in the middle. And then you got Cooper and Micah Parsons on the outsides. And maybe you have Brandon Cooks or Oliver or whoever. Maybe Oliver's going to start at the other, outside. I don't know. And then Edgerrin Cooper is in the middle. I don't know what they're going to do. But you're right. What they need is some big fat guys. And by trading away all the biggest guys, they got nothing left. Like they need a stud monstrosity who can handle taking on double teams all the time.
Yep.
Which you don't have.
Right. Now, I don't know if they are planning on, because there's some big D tackles, but they're probably going to have to move up to get the one they want or get one that's actually good. So they might have to finagle the draft a little bit, finagle some picks. I don't know. I know Goody doesn't have that many picks, so I know he doesn't want to give up, give up a pick to move up, but he'll probably gain a later one, whatever. They'll do all the stuff, right? So he at least comes out with the same amount of players, and they'll probably try to gain picks later on day 3 if he can. However, I mean, most of these big dudes that are like 320 that you have a chance to get out of the 5 like ones that are the top ones, I don't know if they're going to be around by the time the Packers pick in the second round. It'll be tight. So they might have to make some movement. Now, does that mean they can pull something before the draft yet? Pick up another pick by getting rid of another player? I don't know. But so far, they're picking up everybody's excited about all of the compensatory picks they're going to get and how loaded they're going to be in compensatory max out picks in 2027. But we'll get to that here in just a second. All right. So we'll find out. We'll find out on that. But Colby Wooden's gone. Welcome to the team, Mr. Franklin. We'll see if he's any good. Then the Packers re-signed Nick Niemann. No, Neiman. Nick Neiman. Linebacker. 1-year deal. So basically just be a special teamer guy, and he's back on the team. Not much else to say about that. Then March 8th came the wild move that I don't know that I thought it was going to happen. I know you talked about it happening, but then we weren't sure. But Sean Ryan signs a 3-year, $33 million deal with the Pack to return as, I guess, their center. Is that right? He's going to be their center? Okay, unmute it. You're muted for a second.
I
No,
said,
you're
I guess
mute-
so. He's going to have to work on his snapping, I said.
Yeah.
Out of shotgun.
Did you expect that to happen?
No and yes. I guess my thought was they have to address a starter at center in some way.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the money to go after Lindenbaum like everybody wanted. And I thought Sean Ryan was playing some of the best football out of any of those guys on the offensive line at the end of the year. So with that all adding up, that makes, I was saying like, I think we should bring him back. So that's not a bad at a decent amount of money. And considering that he's making a fraction of half of what Banks makes, Aaron Banks, the big signing they made last year, who sucks balls, I think that's a good move. But if I was a Packer guy, I would be kind of concerned. I'm like, hey, why did you sign Joe Schmo from another team and give him the bank when guys like Zach Tom, should be making more, and Sean Ryan probably should be making more. And you can't afford to get Rasheed Walker back because you signed Aaron Banks last year. It's just kind of dumb. But what are you going to do? I mean, it's obvious what they do is dumb. So, but they did all the things. They did all the things basically I said they were going to do, except for one.
They did some things that weren't dumb so far. I mean,
Yeah,
we'll talk.
things that
It's
smart things.
debatable. It's debatable about the results of what they got for those things, but at least they made some moves. The Ryan thing is interesting because they held him. I mean, basically, right? Like the first couple of years, he didn't even play. Like they thought he was out of shape, or he wasn't good enough, or he was, whatever. Like he was just kind of held down. Like no one knew what he was. No one knew if he was any good at all. And then he gets to play some last year. And you're like, okay, he could be. Maybe there's some stuff here, right? Like he's pretty physical. He needs to work a lot on his pass blocking, all that sort of stuff. Then he starts playing guard. Now somebody said he got benched from his guard spot before the Jenkins injury, and he had to go in and take over at center. I don't think that's true.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
What it was they wanted to force Jordan Morgan
Exactly.
onto the field.
Right.
It wasn't that, and it's the same problem they had last year when they forced Jordan Morgan onto the field, and they made him switch off with Sean Ryan all the time, or 2 years ago, whatever, when Myers was still playing center, and they should have had Sean Ryan start and play the whole year at right guard, but they kept bringing Jordan Morgan in to try to give him some playing time because they wasted a first-round pick on him. So they're like, oh, we better give him playing time, even though he's clearly a tackle. Let's throw him in there at guard and watch him play like dog shit. When Sean Ryan could have played more and developed more as an interior offensive lineman, which is what he clearly is by his size and his ability to play. And this year, they tried to do the same crap halfway through the year. They tried to force Jordan Morgan in there. And that's why he didn't get benched. He got forced. And you can't tell me they got benched because when you watch the tape, he wasn't playing that bad. And Jordan Morgan was certainly worse than him.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And Elton Jenkins was playing like dog shit at center. So it was good that he got hurt. Now, it ain't his fault that his quarterback isn't that great and that his head coach doesn't call good offensive plays that get guys open. That's besides the point.
So
Sean Ryan deserves this contract. He played great. He deserves it. Okay? I think he deserved the money he got way more than Quay Walker. Quay Walker started a lot of games, but did he play all that great? I don't think so. He's never an impact player. So that's great that he went and the Raiders gave him a crap ton of money. Raiders were signing guys left and right. They're the ones who signed Lindenbaum to a crap ton of money at center. They signed some other who else did they sign? Some other guy too.
They
But
signed some. Yeah, well, they signed a bunch of dudes, but yeah. I mean, I think Sean Ryan played well enough that you want to again with not loving this draft for offensive linemen. You look at all the different things that are going on. You look at some dudes leaving the NFL, retiring, all this stuff. The Bears losing their center, all that stuff, and you're like, yeah. The only questions I have is that up until halfway through the season last year, the guy played guard. Does he know center and the protections and all that stuff well enough? Like, was that what? And I'm not saying Jenkins did either, because this was throughout the year. They had trouble picking up stunts. They had trouble passing stuff off. They had trouble identifying what the hell they were doing on the offensive line and pass protection. But it wasn't really better with Sean Ryan in there, and that's probably just lack of experience at center. But I'm just, I hope they coach him up, and I hope they work with him a lot on that, and I hope he's done a bunch of work. So mentally, because center is one of you got to be sharp to play center. To be a good center, you got to be sharp mentally, right? You got to know all the stuff. You got to notice the things. You got to take the lead. You got to call out the line shifts, call out a lot of crap that's going on up front, especially, you don't know if your quarterback's trying to do that or not, but you got to know it too. Whether your quarterback knows it or not, you also got to know it. So that's the one part. Now, not a ton of money. Guy's a good player, deserving of a second contract. And there's, one of the guys Goody maybe drafted that actually deserves a second contract. We don't know. There's not too many of those in his history, but we'll get to
there's
that.
a lot. There's a lot this year.
Well, let's get to the next.
Rasheed Walker, Romeo Dobbs, Sean Ryan, freaking keep naming them. They're all keep coming up.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing I will say is good about the Sean Ryan being signed back as center. It's clear Jordan Morgan is going to be the left tackle. Now, whether that's good or not, I don't know, but it's clear that's going to happen. It's clear Banks is the left guard. It's clear Ryan is the center. It's hopefully clear that Belton is playing right guard, and Zach Tom is back, hopefully healthy, at right tackle. And those are the positions that they should play, and those are the positions they should practice, and those are the positions they should be prepared to play, and only those positions, so that they don't have to worry about learning 800 fucking jobs and 800 spots. Learn that one spot so that you know if there's a twist or a stunt or something, what your job is to do if there's a twist or a stunt or a whatever. And that will be helpful right from the start. That there isn't a bunch of musical chairs and guys fighting for spots and all this other crap. Okay?
What?
Monk's your backup center. Maybe you draft some guys in the draft. Maybe they can fight and compete with the guy. But no. Get these 5 guys. Let them learn their spots, and maybe they won't suck.
That would be nice. You mean you have a plan and you know what you're already doing coming into the season versus competition at all these spots, and we're going to see how it shakes out. Got to get our best 5 out there, and we don't know who that is yet because we're got to bring all this competition around.
It's dumb. I mean, for how many years did Aaron Rodgers know exactly who the guys were in front of him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it was solid. Maybe a center changed or something, but it was like 5 years of TJ Slayton and frickin' Josh Sitton and, what's his face, Corey Linsley and Brian Bulaga and Mark Tauscher. Sorry. That was really bad. Mark Tauscher's way better. No, he's not, but, and Dave Bakhtiari. But I'm just saying is, he knew he had those 5 guys every year. And every year those 5 guys played their spots. They didn't learn every other fucking spot on the offensive line. They played that spot. Why would they have to? They're the starter at that spot. There's no reason why they should have to fight and compete at other spots. And I think hopefully that's the goal now. These guys are the starters. Let's get them going. Let's have them work together for an entire offseason and an entire preseason and learn how to work together so that when the season starts, they're ready to go. And then they're ready to go all year long. And they only get better and better as the year goes on. And then if you have a backup for him, that's fine. But have that guy learn all the other spots. Have no starter have to learn more than one spot. It's his spot. They don't do it on on defense. They don't do it at corner. I know they do it at wide receiver, which they shouldn't, because some guys are only good at certain things. So why bother having them, just have them do their best thing that they're best at. But anyways, yeah,
I agree.
I think they finally.
You think they're finally going to go with identifying spots for guys and let them stay in those spots, and then have backups be more versatile, but not try to make the starters versatile, all versatile. Which
That's what they should do. But
that would be great. We'll find out. We'll find out if that's what they do. Okay, so the next move was kind of preempted and a little spoiled by the player, but then I didn't know what was happening. Everyone thought that he was just going to be cut, but somehow the Packers trade Rashawn Gary to the Cowboys for a 4th-round pick. So, a couple of things about this. Number one, the Cowboys are dumb. Like, why would I mean, the guy was going to be cut. Everyone in the NFL knew he was going to be cut. Don't you think if he was cut, you would be able to sign him for less than what he's due to make this year? Or did the Cowboys, was it picked up that the Packers had to pick up enough of the contract that it helped them out? I don't know, but
the Packers didn't pick up any of the contract other than the guaranteed money that was already there. The Cowboys got to pay him $20 million this year, or 19 point something million, and 23 or something next year.
Why? Why would you?
Because I don't know, but maybe the only thing I think of is that the Cowboys are desperate at defensive end.
They're desperate,
and they traded away their star player last year, and they thought that if he hit the market, maybe they wouldn't be able to get him. Maybe he'd sign somewhere else. But I mean, if you're willing to give him $20 million, I doubt anybody else is going to give him $20 million.
Exactly.
Like, what are we doing here? But hey, Goody must have pulled the fast one again. The only time, listen, we talk Goody drafts like crap. He signs free agents, not that great. I mean, everybody says how great they are, with Z and, Xavier McKinney is so great. And Josh Jacobs, and Billy Turner, oh, yeah, really great. But one thing I do know is this. The Aaron Rodgers trade, way better for the Pack. Devontae Adams trade, way better for the Pack. Micah Parsons trade, we don't know yet. There's 2 first-round picks involved that we don't know. But still, it's still pretty dang good. Kenny Clark, we got rid of him. That was just Kenny Clark and giving away 2 first-round picks for nothing would have been great. So this is another one.
Anyway.
So really what this is you just look at it as it's Micah Parsons and a 4th-round pick for Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, and 2 first-round picks. That's what it is. That's what the trade is. And you might say, that sounds ridiculous, Ben. Those are 2-star or Pro Bowl type players and 2 first-round picks for a 4th-round pick and some random guy who got hurt. Those guys aren't that great. Now, I will say Elton Jenkins is okay. But that's the next thing we're going to get to.
We'll finish on
but
this.
Kenny Clark was overrated, and talked about how great he was, and he wasn't that great.
Right. Same thing with Rashawn Gary, right? So here's the thing. Here's the thing that bothers me a bit. Goody spent his highest pick he's ever had on this player who didn't really do anything, was not much, didn't produce much, right?
Keep talking. I'll be right back. Just keep saying your thing.
Was hidden, was a guy who had played halftime for 3 years. And then played a little bit more in his third year. And then, whoa, my gosh. Then we got to give him a big contract and a bunch of money. Hey, David. I know, David. We're going to miss him, too. And we're talking about Rashawn Gary here. We're going through all the moves. We'll get to Dobbs in a minute. But, so, Rashawn Gary gets all of that. And how many years on the team? 6 years on this team? 6 years on this team? And we get a 4th-round pick? And we paid him a lot of money, and I don't know. That's the part that bothers me. You're telling me the guy that Goody picked at number 12, who is physically and age-wise in the prime of his football life, is worth the 4th-round pick. That's it. That's pretty sad. But at least he's gone, and at least Packers got something for him before they had to cut him. So that I will give him credit for, and the Cowboys are dumb and desperate. Okay, let's move on. Another big move that happened. This is one of the players the Packers lost. I know they tried to kind of downplay it and cover it up a little bit, but everybody was kind of speculating and expecting that Malik Willis was going to go to the Dolphins, and looks like the Dolphins were very happy to get him and went aggressively after him. And so, good luck, Malik Willis. Congrats to you, my friend. Gets a nice contract, 3 years, $67.5 million, $45 million guaranteed for a guy who the Titans almost ruined. But thankfully, the Packers got him for almost nothing and gave him a chance. And he's a great dude and talented player. And I think he's going to do well there. Of course, their offensive line, they ain't the greatest, so they're going to need his escapability and ability to run around and stuff to just keep plays alive. But I hope he does super well, and obviously hope he does well for Sully and Halfley and turns the Dolphins around. Anyway, we knew that was happening. We knew Malik Willis was going to be gone. I didn't quite think it was going to be 3 years. I thought maybe 2 years, so I'm going to give it to him. But the Dolphins clearly know more about him, believe in him, and that's kind of a nice contract for him. Thoughts on that contract? Or, I mean, everybody kind of expected him. He'd go to the Dolphins. There were some other rumors, the Jets and some of these other teams and blah, blah, blah. But no. He went to a better place than those other places.
Yeah, I was fine with that. Don't scare me, man.
Another big loss, which is kind of a weird. I mean, I don't quite get. I thought when they said he was gone, I was like, this is not the contract I expected. But Kingsley Enagbare going to the Jets for a 1 year, $10 million contract. So he's betting on himself to get more playing time with the Jets, to show what he can do in more of a full-time role, to hopefully cash in the year after. But get this. Enagbare, we know he was a solid player. We know he did a lot of good stuff. We know he made plays when he was out there. He played increasingly in the snaps and defensive percentage snaps as the season went along. But he played in all 68 games that he was around for. So he was available. He was available for the Packers. So, I mean, that's another thing. The Packers have all these dudes that are injured all the time. This is a guy who was always freaking available and did stuff. And now he went to the Jets for 1 year, $10 million.
Yeah. He went to the Jets for 1 year, $10 million because it was 1 year, $10 million. And it wasn't what the Packers do, which is sign a guy to a 4-year contract. That sounds like a lot. Like, for instance, the corner that they just cut today. It sounds like it was a 4 years for $47 million or whatever it was. I don't know how much it was.
48, yep.
But it was really after they cut him. You know, you want to know how much Nate Hobbs made from playing one season with the Packers and most of that being injured? You want to take a guess how much money the Packers played Nate Hobbs because he signed that 4-year contract to spread out that signing bonus overall? So he played maybe 4 or 5 games, I think, and wasn't even good. How much money do you think the Packers paid that player for his 1 year of service as a Green Bay Packer?
You jumped ahead of me. He's going to be released for a post-June 1 designation. Again, it was a 4-year, $48 million thing. He's not going to receive his $6.5 million roster bonus, and they gained $9 million in cap space, right? But
not $9 million.
Oh, how much did they make? $18 million?
$18 million. Yes.
$18 million for 3 years.
He made $18.8 million to play 1 year with the Packers. And people say how great Goody is and how he's a genius. My question is, how does this happen? How can you allow this player to... And not just that. Look at Rashawn Gary. Yeah, we saved money because we cut him, right? But he made like $30 million, 20-something million last year, 20-something million the year before that. And this year we finally got to cut him, and we still paid him $10 million to go away. How much do we pay him for nothing? But yet we can't pay TJ Slayton, who's actually pretty damn good, and we know because he's here. So we paid Hobbs $18.8 million last year. And this year, and next year, because we have to cut him as June 1st so that $12 million goes onto the cap for the next year. So we only have $4 million of it go here, and then $8 million go next year. That's what it was. $4 million this year on the cap, $8 million on the cap next year. But it's still 18 because it was $6 million from the year before. So actually it's 12.8 on the cap next year, but that's besides the point. Back to what I was saying. That's $18 million Goody paid for a guy who did nothing. And how many times do we see? I think Rasul Douglas got a 3-year, $18 million deal.
21.
Whatever.
Yeah, it was $7 million a year, basically.
Is pretty close.
Yeah, pathetic.
And that was a guy who we knew was good.
Yeah, who made a bunch of plays.
That's what I'm trying to.
actually
That's what
did
I'm trying to get at. Goody is this. If I was a Packer, I'm hoping they're all stupid and they don't pay attention to this kind of stuff and know what's going on. But like if I'm Tucker Kraft, who I think everybody knows is the man, and I think he knows he's the man, and I've heard some rumors this week, and I know I'm getting you off. I know you want to go your structure and whatever, but
fine.
I don't care.
You're fine.
Because everybody's talking about Christian Watson because of the big contract that was just signed by the guy I wanted the Packers to draft that year with Alec Pierce, who just got a big fat paycheck for $120 million for 4 years or whatever it was, over $25 million a year. And they're thinking, well, Christian Watson's going to have to get that because Alec Pierce is like Christian Watson. And it's like, no, he's not. He's definitely not as good. Though I don't think Alec Pierce is worth that money either.
I don't either. That's a lot.
But the bottom line is this. So Christian Watson might get 20, even if he gets $20 million a year, even though he has suspect hands and gets hurt all the time. And you have a guy like Tucker Kraft who could be on the field on every single down and impact the game in passing and blocking and running after the catch, playing awesome. And he's only going to get tight end money, which would be like 10 million, 12 million at the most, probably, if he's lucky. But I think his value is so much higher. I just don't understand this whole NFL. I don't understand the NFL. I don't understand how it's okay to sign Nate Hobbs, pay him $18 million to barely play for 1 year, and then cut him, and nobody's getting on Goody's ass for that. Why is it okay that we signed Rashawn Gary to a big fat second contract because he had, 8 games of sort of good? And then now we realize he sucks, so it's okay that we traded away. We got a steal for a 4th-round pick. What about the hundreds of $millions that we paid him to suck? Yeah. Why doesn't somebody get on him for that? That's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts as a Packer fan. I want a GM who's able to rip off the Band-Aid when he knows there's something wrong. And the saddest part is he's going to do it again with Jordan Morgan. Watch. Jordan Morgan will get a big, fat deal. Even though Rasheed Walker played pretty solid. And he played a lot of snaps for us. And we could have got him maybe on the cheap if they would have signed him before last year to an extension for 3 more years. They could have got him for $12 million a year.
Right.
Before this last year starting, which is what they did with Zach Tom. Zach Tom, they got a deal on Zach Tom. But no. They're going to watch Rasheed Walker go somewhere else, who he still hasn't signed yet, I don't think. But that's because no tackle is signed yet, because they're all waiting to see what happens with Trent Williams or whatever from the 49ers. People think that he's going to get cut tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
That's why no tackles have been signed. Everybody's like, well, he must not be worth anything if he's not signed yet. No, he's not signed yet because all the teams are waiting. There's no tackles that have been signed. And as soon as the drop the ball happens with Trent Williams, then all the tackles will be gone. Just like all the centers were gone the first day, because there weren't that many, and they were all gone. Heck, Sean Ryan was gone the day before the even legal tampering period started. But what I'm saying is he going to learn from his mistakes? And I say, I'm hoping that this is a view that he has. Quay Walker, the old Goody would have just signed him to a big fat contract, right? Instead, he's like, nah, we'll let Quay Walker go. The old Goody would have, just like with Kenny Clark, we had to sign back Kenny Clark because we didn't have anybody else. There's the Nick Perry fiasco. He had 3 sacks one day, so we got to sign him to a second contract, even though he's sucked his whole career so far. And you know what else? I just watched a thing came up on Facebook today from the NFL, and it was like a highlight package of Jordy Nelson, and I was like, holy crap! I forgot how damn good Jordy Nelson was.
Yeah, he
was freaking unbelievable. His sideline catches, his speed down the field, his ability to catch the ball in traffic, find it, no problem, on 30-yard, 40-yard bombs, and then make guys miss and take it all the way to the house. That's Christian Watson doesn't do any of that crap. Christian Watson can't find the ball in the air, ever. If he could, he would have caught that one in freaking Instead of trying to get out of the way and try to bat it away for an interception, he should have just caught that one at the 2-yard line, whatever game that was. But he has no idea where the ball is. He has no, I don't know. Maybe he needs context. He needs to see the ball better. Anyways, I just thought that was interesting because I looked that up and I was like, huh. So they cut Hobbs after one crappy year. So Goody's like, oh, that was a bad mistake. How much did we pay him for that one crappy year? $18.8 million we paid Hobbs to play for like 3 games last year. And that is a problem.
Yeah.
That was dumb. Nobody would have signed that guy for a 4-year contract like we did. Nobody. And they signed him on the first day.
Right. That's stuff he does.
Same thing with Banks.
358 snaps.
All right, go back. Sorry, I derailed you.
No, you're
but
fine.
Nate
Hobbs played 358 snaps last year for that almost $19 million.
I mean, it's not Dave Bakhtiari getting paid for doing absolutely nothing for 3 years, but it's damn close. It's even worse though, because Dave Bakhtiari was at least a good player.
Yeah, for a long time.
This guy,
yeah,
no,
yeah, no, it's true. But what's the difference, Ben? What's the one difference here that's glaring? It's that he can do that. He can have that perspective when it wasn't a player that he drafted high.
Well, he let Gary go.
Yeah, but after the financials were going to force him to cut him anyway, right? Like there was no way out. You were going to have to cut him to save all that big cap money. The only other thing that would have been possible is the extending it out and do all that, but they couldn't do that anymore with him. But the one thing I'm saying is here's what I'm curious about. Do you think with some of these moves you've seen, and we'll get through the last other ones too, and we'll just make sure we cover all of them. But do you think that prior to bringing back LaFleur and Goody, do you think there was conversation from Ed Policy about some of these trends, about some of the history of doing some of that stuff, which ultimately cost the organization in the long run, right? Where he said, look, you're going to have to make decisions and part ways with some of these guys, and that financially it just doesn't make business sense anymore. And maybe that's what the Gary move indicates. Maybe that's what the cutting Hobbs after 1 year indicates. But I will say, regardless, he's definitely more inclined to do that with free agents he signs or lower picks than he is his high draft picks. That's why we've seen over the history of the time. Give me a first round Goody draft pick that deserved a second contract and got one. No, wait. Let's go through the Goody draft picks. What were the guys he signed back after they were first round draft picks?
Jair Alexander.
Yep. After he was out the whole year.
After he was out the whole year,
yep.
And we had Keyshawn come in and play great, and we had frickin' Rasul Douglas who came in and played great.
Right.
There was no reason to sign Jair back. No reason. Now, he at least showed flashes his first 2 years before he got hurt, where he made plays. So I don't just say bad things about it. Contract was too much, for sure.
Could have signed him for 1 year. Could have
had to make it the highest. Had to make it the highest paid guy at his position. Like the highest paid guy at his position. Highest paid guy at his position. That's what we always have to do with their first round picks. What they had to do with Rashawn Gary too. The next year was Rashawn Gary. Did he deserve a second contract at that price? Hell no.
Right.
He deserved a prove it contract. That's what he should have got.
Yep.
Not the big fat contract that he got.
Right.
But there's nothing we can do. And then you got Savage, who they picked up his 5th year option and then let him go, which is great. Then the year after that was Jordan Love. Is Jordan Love, is he a $55 million a year quarterback? He is not.
No.
He is not. And people are saying it now. I've heard people say it on the radio now. Finally, they're finally asking, is he? But is he a top 5 quarterback? Is he even a top 10 quarterback? He's like, he's a top 10 quarterback. And I'm like, really? They're like, look at his stats. Oh, well, his stats. Okay. His stats tell you he's the top 10 quarterback. But when you watch the games, they don't tell you that. So whatever. And then I don't even know. Did I miss somebody?
Eric Stokes. Devontae Wyatt.
He was after that.
Quay Walker.
Eric Stokes, he let him go.
Yeah, that one he did.
Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt, he let Quay Walker go. and he also Devontae Wyatt. He gave him a 5th-year, picked up a 5th-year option,
Yeah.
which will be $12 million this year, which is not going to happen. So they're going to have to rearrange that crap, figure out what they're going to do with that, because they can't pay him $12 million.
LVN.
Well, LVN is still coming up. He
No,
doesn't-
I know.
You know,
I'm just saving off the first round picks. And do any of them deserve a second contract? Jordan Morgan.
well, no, not at this point.
So there's none. There's none. This guy's been the GM for how long? And not a single one of these guys he's drafted deserved like a big second contract. At most, a prove it second contract. And they didn't give him that. They gave the ones that deserved to prove it, that showed a little bit of something. They gave him the big, massive contracts. So whatever. That's his track record. All right, Nate Hobbs gone, which gave them room to sign St. Juiced, which was fine, I guess. Like, yeah, you get a cheaper vet corner who did pretty good, and they got him on the cheap, and that works out fine. I'll take him.
I actually like him.
Yeah, I like him too.
He's kind of like he's giving me Richard Sherman vibes, where he's 6'3", 200
Yeah.
pounds.
Big dude.
He's not the fastest guy. He ran like a 4.55 or something at the combine, so he's not fast. But he's not terrible at tackling. His first 4 years with the Commanders were not great, but they also played him in the slot a bunch, which makes no sense. Why you put a 6'3", 200-pound guy covering slot receivers? Because they're just going to juke your ass out of, it's not good. He should have been playing outside, just like Rasul Douglas, right? Rasul's better at the outside corner because he doesn't have shiftiness, and yeah, he doesn't have the speed sometimes to keep up with guys, but he's got the quick wits and he's got the size to, bat balls away. I did see a couple highlights of Benjamin St. Juice. He's got a great first name.
Yeah,
So
I knew that was
therefore-
part of the reason you liked him. I knew
So
it.
then, and I've seen him. He got long arms, and he can get his arms in there and bat that shit away when the pass comes in. I've seen him do it a couple times. I will say this: on some of those highlights I saw, he was pretty handsy too.
Yeah,
Pretty
gotta
much
get hands.
grabbing the receivers when the ball's on the way in the air, which sometimes they let you do it, sometimes they don't. So it could be bad news if he keeps grabbing like that. But
You could do it every play. They're not going to call it every play. That's what some teams go by. That's the way they look at it. But I mean, 2 years, $10 million, that's pretty cheap. And that allowed them to feel more comfortable to cut Hobbs, I guess. But either way, whatever. He's a decent dude. Christian Welch back on the team. They re-signed him. That's fine. He's a good special teamer and could sub at linebacker. We already talked about Walker being gone. I mean, three years, $40.5 million for Quay Walker. That's crazy towns. So whatever. Raiders were fine to spend some money. The Packers would never spend money on a dude like that. I mean, I don't even know if Edgerrin Cooper will get that in a couple of years, but we'll find out, I guess.
probably.
I mean, obviously we've talked about Walker leading up to this season. We've talked about him throughout. He looked promising his rookie season, but then never really seemed to get better from there, and actually seemed to take a step back. Whether that was them kind of taking his edge off because he was getting into some trouble and losing his temper or losing his head a couple times in games his rookie year. I don't know, but either way, he seemed to step tentative most of
Yes.
the time.
I think
He always struggled in pass coverage, but he always even on his like run reads, he seemed to step behind. Like just he wouldn't.
He's slow.
see it and go.
He's slow to react and read.
Yeah,
And I think he's slow to read it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think he was great when he had an assignment.
right.
Like
When
when
they
they
just
told
send
him,
him,
when
there's
they
go.
sent him on the blitz or they sent him, he knew he was covering a guy in man coverage.
Right.
I think he did better. It was the zone coverages and the reacting to run plays where he didn't react to him fast enough, and a guy would come into his zone and he would just kind of stand there, or he would just kind of lose sight of a guy who ran right in front of him, and he was just like, I don't know. Well, it's not good. He just didn't play great, and it cost us a lot of third downs, to be quite honest.
That's true.
So good riddance. Bye. Not worried at all. It'll be an improvement to anybody they bring in, I think.
So another departure we knew was going to happen just because of the cap hit and also because of the performance. It's been down. It's been down quite a bit. Elton Jenkins gone, right? And I know he threw the big fit. He knew this was coming too. That's why he held out last year. That's why all the things. That's why he didn't want to move to center. It's like all the stuff. But it was coming. It was just way too much money already going to him. But look, he made his money with the Packers. He's fine.
if he had came out last year and played great at center, They would have restructured his contract and kept him, and Sean Ryan would be gone.
Yeah.
But because he didn't play great and then he got hurt, I mean, it's over. Like he could have went out there and played great. He didn't. So that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, decent player. I never thought he was as great as everybody hyped him up to be, but he was a good to solid player at guard.
He was a good second round pick.
Yep.
Who is better than most of Goody's first round picks, but that's not really saying anything because his first round picks are usually bad.
And unfortunately had a really high cap number in his contract, and that was definitely making sure he was going to be gone. Darian Kennard's coming back. Pretty cheap again. 1 year, $3.75 million deal. That's pretty much a no-brainer. Guy was fine. Good backup in there. He's solid. And they might draft some dudes. Who the hell knows? But we'll find out. I can't draft everybody because they don't have like 13 picks like they usually have, so we'll see how it goes. But one thing with all these departures is that they're going to get a lot of those compensatory picks in 27. Everybody's all jacked up about that.
Yeah, but the most they can get is 4.
Right.
So, but they're losing a bunch of guys. So that's why you can sign a couple guys, and still get it because they're going to lose so many guys.
Yeah, the max they can get is 4 of those compensatory picks, and I don't know if they'll be smart with them. We'll find out. David mentioned it right out of the gates. Romeo, of course, we knew he was gone. I didn't know he was going to get that kind of money, but 4 years.
What did he get?
4 years, $70 million from the Patriots.
That's not that much.
That's kind of a lot. I mean, he's
but
a possession guy that.
Alec Pierce just got the bag.
Maybe the wide receiver market's gone crazy again. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it already was crazy. Devontae Adams, remember what he got? It was nuts.
True.
When he went to the Raiders, they gave him a crazy contract.
The wide receiver market's gone crazy. The quarterbacks, the edge guys gone crazy. But
the linebackers don't make shit.
Yeah. But good for Romeo. I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to think how he fits in their offense and all that. They're more of a running team. He doesn't like to block, but he's a good.
Yeah, but you know what they needed last year was a guy who can catch the ball on a quick slant or to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand because he was getting his ass kicked in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
If they would have had Romeo Dobbs in the Super Bowl, that would have helped him a lot. A sure-handed guy.
Yeah.
Probably would have helped.
He made a lot of good catches for Jordan Love. Made him look good a lot of times. They do the kind of the interesting one. Sky Moore pickup for 1 year, a tiny little fast receiver. And I don't know. I mean, he's freaking little. How does he fit in with all these other little receivers?
Well, he might be a return guy.
That's what we're gonna have him for? Just returns? And he's gonna make the team.
Well, I would hope that he doesn't. I would hope to God he doesn't play over Golden, who we have as a first round pick, or Christian Watson, or frickin' Dontavion Wicks, or Jaden Reed, or your guy Bo Melton just signed back. Is he a corner? Is he a wide receiver? I don't know, but he's back.
Bo's back?
He's back. He's back.
Oh,
yeah.
Shoot. Well, they kind of had control of him anyway.
Yeah, they did. Right? But I mean, he actually signed the paperwork today.
Okay.
So he's back.
Okay. I mean, if he can do something on punt returns or whatever, I guess it's fine. I think
he's a redundant. Yeah.
He's
I don't
tiny.
I'm not a fan, but
I'm guessing he gets cut. Doesn't even make the team.
Yeah, he'll be like a
Nicole Hardman.
Yeah.
And that's kind of most of what I know of at this point, other than I didn't know Bo was back, but that's all right.
Yeah, Bo's back.
So knowing all that stuff, I don't know. There's some signs there that maybe there's hopes that maybe they'll make some, invest in some of the defensive players in the draft and beef up at getting some big dudes at D tackle and D end. Wide receivers, I think, are stacked. Hey, did you see the comment from our last video? Some dude thought we were crazy and said the Packers they don't need any more speed on offense. They got everything they need on offense. They're talent rich on offense, something like that.
Really? Didn't they score 10 points against the Eagles?
Yeah.
Did they score 10 points against the Eagles? Did they score did they not be able to frickin' score a point or move the ball in the entire second half basically of the playoff game against the Bears when they had a frickin' 21-3 lead?
Bears who don't even have a good defense? Yeah.
That's all the talent that you need.
That's what some dude thought. I was like, I beg to differ, sir. Um, you know, but they're trying to say that Jaden Reed is untouchable. There's been interest in Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed for trades. I've seen some of that going around.
I'll
But
trade
Jaden
him then
Reed
because
is
they don't. Because I said this either last show or the show before. I want 3 guys to get the ball.
yeah.
If you want to be talent rich, sure, but we're not. But these are the 3 guys that would scare me if I was a defensive coach. Number 1, Tucker Kraft, because he's a monstrosity. He'll break your tackles. He'll catch anything. He'll run you over. He'll take it 80 yards. That scares me. Number 2, Christian Watson. He's tall and he's fast. He might not know where the ball is half the time, and he can't catch that great, but he's tall and he's fast. That's scary if I was defense coordinator. And number 3, Matthew Golden. He's fast and shifty, and we certainly didn't use him enough. And the only way those 3 guys get the ball more is if we get rid of all these guys that frickin' Matt LaFleur likes. So get rid of Jaden Reed. Fine, trade him. I don't care. He ain't that great. He drops the ball just as much as Christian Watson, except for even more. Dontavian Wicks, I loved him. And then he had the drops for a whole year. And last year, I don't know what. He got hurt, didn't play half at all. I didn't even see him out there. And neither of those guys block either. And that's what Matt LaFleur loves, is blocking. So just do that. I would rather have an offensive starting unit of specialty guys. Your 5 specialty guys who can catch the ball. Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, Chris Brooks, and I don't know, whoever. Hopefully they get a good running back. Aaron Jones, sign him off the street right now. Boom. There you go. Those are our 5 guys, and then we would be talent rich. And our team would be good. And every guy would scare you except for Chris Brooks, but that's because he's smart and he'll be there able to pick up the blitz and he'll be a safety valve out of the backfield and all kinds of stuff. But all the other 4 guys would scare the crap out of you if you're a defense because they're either fast or big or frickin' monstrosities or Aaron Jones, who's all things that are great, the greatest man ever played football because he's so awesome. And he's back on the market and should be back to being a Packer. And Evan Williams will just have to give up his number, and that's fine.
Pound for pound, one of the best human beings to play football, no doubt.
But I don't know what you're saying. We have no running back that scares anybody.
He said we got plenty of speed. This dude said, and I was like, what? The running backs, we need way more speed at running back.
We have no speed.
We got nobody that's gonna take it the distance. Who the hell is gonna get out in the open and scare anybody? Nobody, right? You've said it all the time. It changes the way defenses play you, right? They just do because they're not worried about Josh Jacobs breaking off a run, so they don't have to play that way. They don't have to shade their safeties back. They can play more up at the line of scrimmage because guess what? If he accidentally runs past you, you're going to catch him and run him down. Pretty much 5 guys on your defense will run him down because they're probably faster than him.
Well, I mean, it's also that, Christian Watson will scare you.
Yes. The wide receivers, but at running back.
You'll have to keep a safety back.
Right. But at running back, you don't.
Yeah, but they
we
also
don't
can
have
stay
anybody
back
that's gonna
because
scare us.
they know that if he gets through the first line, he's only going to get like 8 yards because he's going to get tackled by the linebacker or the safety's going to be able to come up and get there. Plenty of time to tackle him. He's definitely not going to the house. That's just the truth. So I don't know. That's the move that needs to happen yet is the Josh Jacobs getting cut. It ain't going to happen because they're dumb. Xavier McKinney probably should have gotten cut too, but they restructured him. He's not terrible. He's a good leader, I guess. He's just not as good as everybody says he is.
That's true.
But at least he's not terrible. So I'm not upset that they extended him.
I wish he tackled more, and better.
Well,
but
he's what are you gonna do?
Didn't seem to get in there. He made his big splash, made everybody think he was great with all his interceptions, all those games in a row, and then he was
just like Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
Zadarius Smith showed up, made a sack every game for like the first 10, 11 games, and everybody was like, he's the greatest thing ever. And then his true nature came out. At least Xavier Kinney seems like a pretty good guy. Where Zadarius Smith was definitely crazy, me, selfish son of a gun. But and now I don't think he's even in the league anymore. Probably not. I don't know. Maybe he is.
Ooh, David says Jacobs broke a big run for a touchdown last year. Oh yeah, against Denver, you mean? I do remember that one. That one, David. You're right.
Did he? No, he still
Yeah,
didn't have 100 yards in that game though.
the one against Denver. That's right. Oh wait, Greg was on here, and Greg, we're gonna go back over this because maybe you came on late. He said we need more talent at the old line. Greg, we got it. We finally got starters at all spots that we
Yeah.
might think could be our starters on this offensive line. Sean Ryan center, Belton right guard, Zach Tom right tackle, left guard. We got Banks. Got way too much money in the guy. He's there, and then left tackle Jordan Morgan, #1 pick from a couple years ago. There's your starters, man. Unless they shake it up and somehow draft some dude in this early in this draft and get somebody, but I don't see that happening. Ooh,
I don't think
JJ,
Carter.
there's been some talk about him being available or them wanting to move him.
It's
But
not
I
a
don't
good
think,
move. It's not a good move.
Yeah.
It's very simple. We don't need. He is a troublemaker, flashy guy, and that's not what we need.
Yeah.
What we need is big guys who are able to just kind of do their job and hold up the offensive linemen and not let them not get beat and not let them get to the second level so that Edgerrin Cooper can make plays. So that
Micah Parsons.
Franklin can make plays, so that McDuffie can get in there and do something, so that Bullard can make a play, so Evan Williams can read the running, come up and not have anybody hit him on his way to make the tackle. So Micah Parsons can get in there and destroy guys because he's not getting hit, and they can't chip him because they had no choice because they got to worry about a different guy soaking up 2 blockers. And it's a different system if they play the way we think they're going to play. It's not going to be the Jeff Halfley where he wanted everybody to just beat their guy and go, which nobody could do, by the way, which is why we had to do a bunch of stunts and stuff. But I don't know. I don't need any crazy. I want a crazy guy, but I want him to find a guy they can draft. That's the crazy guy.
JJ says Calais Campbell is old but still good.
I don't know, man. He's so tall. Like I don't know
He's
why.
super tall and he's so old. Can he eat up blockers like he would need to? I don't know. He's got a lot of snaps under his belt, like taking a lot of abuse in this league.
And
That would be
Hargrave,
one-
I don't know. He's going to get cut by the Vikings tomorrow, and then, we'll see. But that's what everybody's talking about. But it's funny because we watch some of these Packer shows, and they talk about every free agent as if the Packers are going to sign them. And it's like, no, they're not going to sign them. Like, have you not learned anything? Like, but I think they just need something to talk about, and that's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk about them all. You're bored. You want to talk about them all. That's great. I would rather just talk about the things that happen because it doesn't pay to speculate and get all crazy because we did that before, and it always ends up getting you mad because they didn't do the thing that was smart. But in free agency, you have no idea what the talks are like. You have no idea how much money we are able to give compared to other teams and what the player is looking for and all that stuff. But in the draft, it's way clearer. It's way clearer on whether a player has the talent and whether the player is a good guy and a good football player. You can see that on the film. You can read about it. You can also put in the RAS scores. It's way easier to do the draft, I think. Yet somehow that seems to be the place where everybody screws up. But not us. Watch our track record from every draft. Just about every guy that we said we wanted the Packers to get was good. I can't think of one that was bad.
There's not
And
many.
that's not. And I'll even go all the way to saying that one wide receiver I wanted that nobody took. He went to the Cowboys as an undrafted player and then never did anything. I think he still would, to this day, I believe he would have been a great player if he would have been on the Packers. But he never got a
That's
chance
fair.
to be here.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name, though. That's that part.
It's about opportunities. I'm trying to remember his name right now too.
It's like Aaron Cooper or something like that. I
no.
think that's what his name was.
Aubrey.
I don't know. No, it wasn't Aubrey Matthews. That was the wide receiver from 1980. He was number 88 from the year of the Pack, 1989.
Aubrey Matthews.
With the
He
Don
had his
Mikowski to
own-
Aubrey Matthews.
He had his own podcast
Did he?
where he was talking about. Yeah, I remember he went off on me that one day when I was talking about the Aubrey Matthews podcast.
I don't remember.
Anyway, so that's we'll find out. I do think the draft has some ways the Packers can meet needs and improve, but will Goody just take a left turn? Probably. We'll find out.
What
But
about
maybe some of these
Ford?
things.
Is Jonathan Ford back? They signed him at the
He's-
end of the year off the Bears practice squad. Is he going to be a? He's a big fat guy who they spent money on and time.
He's big, but he just doesn't. He looks lazy or soft. I can't tell which one, but he just doesn't have the fight or the grit like you got to have to be battling two guys and double teams and stuff. I'm telling you, I hope they kind of see how the draft goes, and I hope they end up with Durant and then that maybe adjust to be more of a penetrating defensive line a little bit, but we'll see how. I don't know. Yes, losing Slayton, that was a big miss. The Packers had a hard time finding big guys forever. They finally had a good big guy, and they just let him walk.
Yeah,
for
but Matt
almost
LaFleur yelled at him in his last game as a Packer, and he said "F you,"
Stupid.
and he should. And then we find out that, of course, that Matt LaFleur has second lowest respect for his players in the entire NFL.
Yeah, because
What
they
does
like
that
to
tell
throw
you?
him under the bus. They don't
Yeah,
like being thrown.
except for
under the
Jordan
bus.
Love.
Yeah, Jordan Love. That's probably brought his Jordan Love probably brought his grade up. Probably gave him an A+.
Yeah, he probably would have been
protects
like
him
a F if it wasn't for that.
Oh, shoot. Well, we'll find out. Anyway, so there's definitely some moves happening. Packers are cutting some dead weight and moving some dead weight now. Doesn't atone for all the money they wasted on that dead weight, but at least they're making the moves now. And maybe it's a sign that policy has said no more operating this way. Let's start to get our act together. And if guys don't financially make sense, let's stop giving huge money to guys that don't deserve it. And if they don't make sense, let's cut the ties sooner rather than hanging on to it. Anyway, all right, we'll catch you guys later. Be good, stay good. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for being Packer fans. And I don't know, hopefully we'll see what drops next, but probably come back next week sometime if there's some big news to report. Otherwise, we'll just see how the free agency stuff goes, and unless there's a major splash, we'll just kind of let it play and give you thoughts later. And then I'm sure we'll do something with the draft. We just won't be as intense. Ben won't do as much studying. He already said that.
Well, we don't have to do the first round, so that's good.
Yeah, that's true. Unless they make a move. You never know.
They're not making a move.
All right. Go, Pack, go. Be good, everybody.